My nan is a troll. I know she's a troll because when I told her that Jack, who's in reception with me at school, was always being nasty to me and pinching and punching me, she got really angry. She got so angry, in fact, that a bit of dribble drooled out of the side of her mouth. But you see, she hasn't got any teeth most of the time because when she's at home, she takes them out. She says they rub her gums and she doesn't like them. Of course, she does have some teeth of her own, but only a few. I think she's only got 2 because sometimes they stick up from the bottom of her mouth like spears sticking straight up. One of them nearly touches the side of her nose when she falls asleep in her chair. Anyway, Nan told me to invite Jack for tea. I don't like Jack, but Nan said it would be okay. When Jack's mum dropped him off at Nan's house, Nan was wearing her teeth and everything, the ones she doesn't like. She talked really posh to Jack's mum, and she didn't dribble at all. In fact, she didn't even smell. She normally smells a bit sort of fusty or mouldy. The mouldy smell a bit like the wee smell in the boys' changing room at school. One day we were going for a walk with her dog. Well, it's sort of a dog. It's very ugly and it stinks, and it doesn't really look much like a dog, but anyway, Nan says it is one, so it must be. It has got a bit of hair on it and it does have sharp teeth, so it must be a dog. We were going for a walk and we were going to get some mushrooms from the fields at the back of Nan's house. We saw some of the older boys from school playing football. As we walked past, the ball got kicked near us and Nan stopped it with her foot, flicked it high up in the air, and as she turned around she kicked it really hard towards their coats on the floor and it went right between them. "Goal!" she shouted. I couldn't believe it and the boys couldn't believe it either. They came running over and asked Nana if she wanted to play with them. They all started arguing over which team she was going on, and I just stood watching as Nan took over the pitch. She dribbled, not from her mouth this time but with her feet, the ball past the defenders and wham! She scored another goal, and then another. Her skinny legs moved so fast I couldn't see them. No one could get the ball past her. She jumped in the air, she slid along the grass. She was amazing. I said to Nana, "I can't believe it, Nana. You are the best Nana ever at football." She just smiled and poked one tooth out and said, "It's because I've got athlete's foot." Nana was slurping her drink and looking really tired. I said, "Nan, is it true that you're more than 100 years old?" She just peeked over the top of her chipped cup and grinned at me. "What do you think?" she said. "Well," I said, "Mrs. Edwards, the dinner lady at school, said you were. She was talking to one of the other dinner ladies, and I heard her say that you must be over 100 years old because you were an old lady when she was little, and she's 62 now, and that didn't you look marvellous for your age?" Nana didn't answer. She just snored and dribbled a bit because she dropped off to sleep. I got up to have a closer look at Nan. I couldn't really get close because Ugly Dog was sitting next to her and he showed me his teeth. But from where I was, my Nana didn't look any older than Mrs. Edwards, apart from the teeth, the faint smell of mouldiness, and a few grey hairs. My Nan loves to keep everything. I mean, really everything. Her best friend is Bob. Bob is the man who lives at the council tip down the road. Well, Nan says that Bob works at the tip, but I think he lives there as well because he's always there. And sometimes Nan says she's just popping over to Bob's house, and when she comes home she's always got more stuff. She calls it useful stuff, but I think it's just rubbish really from the tip. She gets all sorts of things from Bob. Broken lamps, worn out wheels, chairs that people throw out, and one day she even came back with a television. It was massive and it had a great big crack right across the screen. But Nan thought it was lovely even though it was just a black and white picture. Once I asked Nan if she was Bob's girlfriend and she got really cross and stuck her tusky teeth out at me. So I guess she must be. Me and my Nan always have a lovely time when we're together, even though she can be a bit grumpy. When she came to pick me up from school one day, she said that we'd have to be quick and get back home because she had a lady come into the house that cut toenails and made them look nicer so they could fit in your shoes a bit easier. Nana didn't wear shoes very often. Most of the time she only wore flip-flops. I really think it's because her feet are a bit strange. Well, actually, I mean her toenails are. They're really sort of thick and a greeny yellow colour, which I don't think most people's toenails are. I saw Nana trying to cut them ages ago, but she had to give up in the end because they were too tough, even for her. I've even seen Nan biting her own toenails when she's watching telly at night. But they still don't ever seem to get any shorter. They're just really sharp, scratchy, jagged and green. Barbara the Trollopodist's bike was quite ordinary until you looked at all the things she had on it. You could see all sorts of tools hanging from the handlebars. Hammers, cutting things like small saws, wicked looking scissors like people use for cutting the wool off sheep in the summer, and the saddlebags were completely bursting out with interesting things. Tins of shiny metal, sandpaper, even some varnish, and some oil in a can with a spout on it. I tried to see what was in the saddlebag on the other side of Barbara's bike, but when I touched it, I was sure that something moved inside it, so I didn't dare look in. Nana said we were having bubble and squeak for tea, and that she'd put it all together in the frying pan, and to help myself to some when it had stopped squeaking. To come into the front room to get some tomato sauce to put on it. When I walked into the front room, I nearly dropped my plate with shock. Nana was sitting in her chair with one of her feet up on a stool, and Barbara was kneeling down in front of it with a big helmet on, which covered her whole face with a glass window in the front for looking through. She was trying to cut Nana's big toenail with the biggest pair of scissors I've ever seen. As Barbara strained and grunted, I could see all the muscles in her arms sticking right out, and finally, after a huge struggle, Nana's toenail pinged off and flew through the air, hitting the far wall, bouncing back across the room, knocking one of Nana's candlesticks off the mantelpiece, and then dropped smack on Ugly Dog's head. I thought it might be safer to eat my tea in the kitchen, so me and Ugly Dog went and sat near the sink out of Barbara and Nana's way. A few days later, Nana collected me from school and told me we had to just nip up to the allotment to get something. She was doing that drooling thing, so I thought she must be thinking about getting something to eat for tea. Nana walks really fast, and I had to walk up the side of her to keep up. She also walks a bit sideways, so I ended up in the hedge a couple of times. She brought my bike so I could ride it up to the allotment, but the piece of wood had fallen off it, and it was a bit uncomfortable to ride with just a metal spike instead of a seat. She said she'd fix it up at the allotment shed when we could get her tools out, and I could help her if I wanted to. I was really chuffed because Nana's toolbox is brilliant. There's all sorts of amazing things in it, hammers, spanners, and an axe that she seems to be able to use for nearly every job. Anyway, we just got near to the allotment gate and then we saw it. Just inside the gate was what looked like a shiny new stream. Nana stopped in her tracks and her massive goggly eyes were even more goggly than normal. She pushed the gate open and stepped